Well, Phil, against Purdue, they won it 23-18, and along the way, they achieved balance. But 185 yards rushing and 182 yards passing is not exactly the kind of exponential numbers you want in balance.
Yeah, when they had the great balanced teams in 2005 and 2008, they averaged around 220 yards passing and 220 yards rushing. But the one thing that really did come through, the line is blocking better, and they're starting to get the running game going.
And that running game, of course, is spearheaded by Silas Redd. And Silas Redd, to this point, has put together an outstanding season. He's averaging 101 yards rushing per game. I know John Urschel said to me earlier today, he said, Steve, I'll be honest with you, he says he makes us look pretty good at times.
Yeah, if they would really put it together as an offensive line, I think Silas Redd would be putting up some impressive numbers, Steve. Not only does he have the movement and the jump step and the acceleration, maybe that's why he wears 25, similar to what Kurt Warner was, but he's really added the weight, and he's now a power runner between the tackles.
And he's not afraid to go between the tackles. A lot of people don't realize his longest career run is 30 yards to this stage. Now, he'll surpass that at some point. Curtis Dukes has run in such a way, Phil, where even with Brandon Beachum now back and poised and ready to play, and Stephon Green working his way in a little bit more, I think Dukes has done a good job of solidifying that number 2 spot the way he's run.
He gives really a good change of pace. He's a power runner. But what I really like about him, Steve, is he explodes through the hole. He makes a decision. He doesn't hesitate. And he's got pretty good speed for a guy 237 pounds. Now, if he can pass block, he'd maybe play a little bit more.
And that's where some others, such as Stephon Green and Brandon Beachum, do have the advantage on Curtis Dukes. So let's get to the offensive line itself. We've talked about the running backs blocking and pass blocking. So far, this line has given up 6 sacks. A good pass blocking offensive line?
Well, last year they were, I think, second in the Big Ten in pass blocking. That's an area, surprisingly, where they have done really well. They've just had a little bit of trouble with their zone blocking schemes, and especially with the stretch play, which started to go with Curtis Dukes a couple of games ago. But pass blocking has always seemed to be one of their best assets.
And it's helped them, because you're now talking about tremendously mobile quarterbacks who have to create a lot in the fly. Let's get to Rob Bolden now. Rob Bolden, opening drive, not bad. Along the way, made a couple of nice throws to Brandon Moseby-Felder, but really a quiet day for him overall.
You know, he only played about 25% of the time. Yeah. I guess, played 3 offensive series in the football game. I was glad to see him, though, in the second offensive drive against Purdue in the first quarter. 2 really sharp passes to Brandon Moseby-Felder and got right down there on a quick post pattern to the 1-yard line. Hopefully, maybe it'll give him a little bit more confidence, Steve.
And the ball to the 1-yard line was a great throw.
Yeah,
it was in exactly the spot that had to be made on that particular pass.
Right.
So we'll see. Now, Matt McGloin made a series of throws like he really has the last few weeks. He's been really steady on the job out there for Penn State.
Well, what I liked is when the 4-play, 60-yard drive for the touchdown. Jack Ham talked about how they took advantage what the defense was giving them. They threw on first down 3 consecutive times, 3 completions for 51 yards, and then Red had his 9-yard touchdown run. When they get into a flow and into a rhythm, McGloin looks really comfortable at the quarterback position, Steve.
Now, we know there are 2 quarterbacks, and we've talked about this all season long. You're all Penn State fans, so you know. So, Jay Paterno, is there a 1A and a 1B? How does it work?
We don't talk about starting in our room. I haven't said you're starting or you're starting. I've said you're going to go first, you're going to go second, and I've told them all along we have 2 1s. So I think that the label is kind of something that's kind of applied from without, rather than from within our building. So that's kind of how we're going to look at it. We look at the film every week and kind of get a feel for where we're at and judge them based on what they can control and go from there.
Well, he went about 75% with Matt McGloin on Saturday, which was really the story with Iowa the week before. Is he starting to separate himself along the way, Phil, or is that unfair?
I don't know if he's. I think he's getting a position where you might classify as separation. But I think what they're doing, they're not going to the Bolden in the first quarter, McGloin in the second quarter. They're seeing how the flow of the game goes, and it's really done well for McGloin in that type of a situation.
We know that Derek Moy could not play last week. He will not play this week against Northwestern. Thus, others have had to step up, the aforementioned Brandon Moseby-Felder. John Stroh with a look at those who have stepped up in the passing game for the Nittany Lions.
It's been said that with adversity comes opportunity. And with the loss of standout receiver Derek Moy, who leads the team in catches and TD receptions for at least the next couple of weeks, opportunity is definitely knocking for the rest of Penn State's talented wideouts to earn the trust of both starting quarterbacks. And the first to seize the moment was junior Justin Brown, who had 4 catches for 86 yards and an impressive one-handed catch in the win over Purdue. Brown talked about the grab.
He was just throwing the ball up. I mean, the one-handed catch, I didn't think he was going to throw it to me just because of the way the guy was holding me at the line, but he threw it up there and I made a play, you know. And even right after the play, I was like, yo, man, thanks for having some trust, you know what I mean? So that just shows that how well they have trust in us.
With Moy's absence, Brown is well aware of the opportunity for he and his fellow wideouts.
It is an opportunity for all the receivers to step up, you know, and that's what I feel like we're going to have to keep doing. We're going to have to go to the watch film and go back and practice and keep working hard.
Quarterbacks coach Jay Paterno was pleased with the way the receiving corps rose to the occasion against Purdue.
The other guy stepped up, and obviously you'd like him to be there because it's going to be a drop-off whether he's there or not. I mean, if he's not there. So, but there wasn't. The guy stepped up and made plays. I think the biggest factor we had to deal with in the past game was the wind, and it was a tough wind.
Sophomore Brandon Moseby-Felder, who helped fill the void with 2 catches for 40 yards, received a much-needed boost of confidence from Moy.
He encouraged me, because I was telling him, like, man, these big shoes to fill, Derek, man, it's big shoes to fill. But he was telling me on the sideline, like, man, I know I went down, but, like, you got to step in.
With Moy's return to the Penn State offense uncertain, guys like Justin Brown, Brandon Moseby-Felder, and Devon Smith will have to take their games to an even higher level as the Nittany Lions face a grueling stretch run that includes games against 3 ranked opponents and Ohio State. For the Blue-White Tailgate, I'm John Stroh.
Justin Brown's a known entity, so is Devon Smith. But I think Brandon Moseby-Felder made plays on Saturday he would not have made a month ago.
Yeah, he's kind of emerged. He was always what I would call a silky smooth type of receiver. He really is fluid when he runs his pass patterns, and he maybe didn't seem to have the confidence. Yeah. And that's why I think early on when the 2 receptions for 40 yards, setting up that touchdown in the first quarter, really might give him a shot of confidence.
Now, life in the red zone is still not what Penn State needs at this stage. As you can see what the Nittany Lions have done in the red zone of late, the last 3 games, it's only the 3 touchdowns along the way. They need better production there without question. And Phil, I mean, that's no question about that. They have to have better production there and finish.
No, you're right. The 14 opportunities,
yeah.
7 scores,
yeah.
Field goals, and what really is bad, you have more turnovers in the last 3 games, 4, than they have touchdowns, which was 3.
And thus we're seeing red there right now. That's exactly what we're seeing, red in the red zone at this particular stage. And there you see right there the breakdown we talked about over the last 3 games, 4 turnovers. Now, the special teams player of the week of the Big Ten for the 2nd time in 3 weeks, Anthony Fera, 9 of 10 in field goals, nearly 44 yards a punt. He has been simply outstanding. Here's the kickoffs, the field goals. He's done everything for the Nittany Lions so far this season. And for Anthony Fera, just an outstanding job. They've needed him to do this, and obviously for him personally, he's been very pleased with how it's turned out.
It's a big honor, Definitely just getting it once was huge for me, but getting it twice, in 2 weeks, it's unbelievable. So, I'm real happy about that.
He should be happy, and so is Penn State. He has stabilized the entire operation. Coming up, we'll talk about the defense, and later, Sean Lee after this.